Well, a Fox News alert, 10 officers injured as protesters clashed with police in St. Louis following the acquittal of a former white police officer who was charged with first-degree murder after a 2011 shooting of a black man. But don't these protests just hurt the community, do they? Joining us now is Fox News contributor and the author of Blacklash, Deneen Borelli, and Army vet and former NYPD Lieutenant Dr. Darrin Porcher. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. Deneen, I'll start with you. These protests, it's one thing to protest. It's another thing to throw bricks at police officers, injuring 10. Is any of this justified?
None of this is justified. Violence should never be the answer. Listen, I think individuals are really working off of their emotions, going out into the streets the way that they did. I believe the protest started out peacefully, and then it just took a wrong turn, veered left, and just went. I mean, there was property damage. They went to the mayor's home. They broke windows at the mayor's home.
Where does that turn come from? Is that outside agitators? Is that Antifa? Is that Black Lives Matter? What is it?
I'm pretty sure there were outside agitators there. And again, listen, this is a local issue. This is something that should be taken care of by local leaders. They should have been out in front of this from the beginning, during, and after the fact to calm individuals down and look at what happened, look at the facts that are on the table. I really don't think we know everything that happened, even though there is video evidence. But people have taken matters into their own hands, and it's setting a wrong tone.
And this isn't even a partisan thing. I mean, the mayor himself is a Democrat, so it's leftists protesting a Democratic mayor. Doctor, I got to go to you. You say, though, this is, you've got the Michael Brown issue from 2014. You say this is a lot different.
Absolutely. I see many people that have conflated the Michael Brown case in comparison to 2011. When we look at 2011, what this protest is focusing around, we had a felony car stop. We had someone that was selling drugs and tried to run the officers over. Whereas when we look at Michael Brown in 2014, this was purely a police and citizen encounter. And when we take in consideration these protesters, when you protest, your First Amendment rights do allow you the ability to protest. However, introduce solutions, not emotional retribution, and that's what's happening here.
Why are they conflating the two? If it's such a great point, you've got a potential felony drug arrest here with using a vehicle as a weapon. Different than whatever the facts are about Michael Brown as well. Different situation. Is it just the ability to incite, the ability to cause more consternation? Is that why they're on the streets?
A lot of these people that protest are professional agitators. They're actually paid a salary to come and protest on behalf of whatever the victims or whatever the victimology is in this particular case. So we oftentimes have protesters that really don't care about the facts. Their whole focus is, look, we want to get this point across. We want to be on television, and we get our point out to the national media so they can accept and recognize who we are as a group.
You just mentioned other networks. Deneen, another network this morning had a banner underneath their screen saying, police use pepper spray and overwhelming force against protesters. So you've got media pointing out that somehow the police are to blame for this?
Well, it's unfortunate that we have a number of media outlets that refuse to report the truth. What I'm concerned about is this issue being politicized, especially from those like Al Sharpton, for example. We haven't heard from him yet, but we know what happened with Ferguson.
Yes.
We saw what happened with Baltimore. We're going to probably see Black Lives Matter be more vocal about this. And unfortunately, what they're going to be doing is pitting citizens against our law enforcement. And I think that is a bad precedent and a really dangerous move for them to be making.
That's a great point. I mean, this is an inner city that's got its own problems that it needs to face. These citizens rely on this and need this law enforcement as much as anybody else. When you drive those wedges, it only makes the situation worse.
Well, Baltimore and Ferguson is still recovering.
Yeah. That's a great point. Ferguson, just outside of both of those locations, still recovering from those incidents. Deneen Borelli and Dr. Darrin Porcher, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
You got it.